Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today we're going to take a look at Andy's collection, and it's a collection that I see as a centered. I mean, well-centered, like a sane person is well-centered. They're not all the same, but the collection is another one of those that everything in it is very well selected, or it came to Andy in a way that made it well selected. Okay, so let's get started. The first one is the Grand Seiko, known as the Snowflake. Andy said he doesn't get much use of this watch, and he said that the kinds of occasions for it just don't arise that much. And it's a fairly formal watch, and it's a good looking watch, but it's, at least for Andy, he says that it's just not one of those watches that comes along. This is nice. It's got the power reserve indicator, not a terribly big date window, but I like the shape and the general style of the Snowflake. Not one I would probably want to run out and get, but it's one of those things, it's a nice watch. Okay, this next one is, I probably recommended this to more people than any other watch. And this is a Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Control date with the sector dial. This watch, the thing I like about it, it's a Jaeger-LeCoultre. It's got a Jaeger-LeCoultre movement in it, and it's not crazy priced. I think these go for, I think they're brand new from Jaeger-LeCoultre for under $5,000, maybe, or at least right around that neighborhood. This, to me, is a great watch, sort of to introduce one into high horology. You're not getting to I mean, some of the other ones in it are very high, but I think that this is sort of a one that represents a nice place to be. To me, it's a very versatile watch. It's a great office watch, but it's also something, you could wear that with something a little more formal than that. Neat watch, I like it. Now, this next one I don't like, I love. This is Harboring to Irwin. And the Irwin has got the Felix, well, it's got what's called the A11S in it, and it has jumping seconds in a mechanical watch. Now, every quartz watch you see has got the jumping seconds, but it's something, they used to call them doctor's watches because the doctors would take your pulse and as it went along, and the seconds jumped along. Hand-wound movement, handmade watch. It's got 48 hours power reserve. I tell you, this watch is just an amazing watch. I love it. I've got the Felix, but the Irwin is the newer one, and just a great watch. I like the looks of this one too. Not a big fan of black dials, but boy, this one really works out well. So I like it a lot. Okay, Harboring 2, great choice. All right, now this next one, when I was looking at GMTs, there were two that I liked a lot, both by Rolex. One was I think it's called the GMT Master 2, and the other one was called the Explorer. Now, the Rolex Explorer 2 that I liked, I'm pretty sure it was a 2. So I'm not an expert on Rolexes, but it was the Polar. I like the white one. But boy, I tell you, I like this one too. This particular model, one of them had the date arrow, that orange arrow with the white diamond. They used to have that, I think, instead of having orange, it was outlined in white. They'd get lost because the indexes on Rolexes are pretty big. Those big circles, the big triangles, even those big rectangles that they have at 6 and 9 o'clock. great big old, but that, I tell you, there's no mistaking that orange dial, what it is or anything else. Or I mean, not the dial, but the hand on there. Neat watch, great choice. Black dial on this really works well, and you have a nice contrast. Neat watch. All right, this next one is a Tudor Black Bay, and it's a combination, really. It's a chronograph, and I think, to me, a chronograph. The chronograph I have is this old 1940 Beauvais, and I don't really use a chronograph that much, and so I wouldn't want to put it with something more expensive. And this, to me, is a great watch to have. It really is for a chronograph. Not only is it a chronograph, it's a chronometer too. So here you have a very accurate watch. Maybe you're not going to use it as much. Now, you might, too. I mean, if you want to, let's say you're in horse racing or something. You got to time the old horse running around the track. And you know, a little more rough and tumble. It's got a textile strap on it. That's another neat watch. This is one I like. The Tudor Black Bay chronograph, but don't forget the chronometer. That's one thing I really like about Rolex, is every single one of them is a chronometer, which means they're COSC certified. Okay, now the final watch in this collection is another one from Rolex I like. The Rolex Milgauss was one of the early ones that were anti-magnetic to 1000 Gauss or Milgauss. But that's not what I like about it. I like the color scheme. I like that big lightning bolt second hand and the center second, and then that deep blue background with the orange, but the subdued orange. You can see it, but it's not, you know, flashing out there. Rolex Milgauss. Again, another one of the Rolexes I really like. I've come into like more and more Rolexes. So my favorite, though, still, I think, the Cellini Prince, just because they kicked it out. Well, anyway, Andy's collection, like I said, this is why I call it well-centered. By the way, today I'm wearing my Vacheron Constantin Historiques American 1921. It's got a lot to remember on it. But this collection is one that it's one of those ones. It's a very strong collection and very centered. I mean, it's not going out to either end, either something very inexpensive that you may have picked up on a whim, or something way out on the other end, you know, a Tudor or something like that. So, but it's just, and the ones, well-chosen ones, and likable ones, I like them. I mean, that Irwin, to me, is obviously going to be my favorite, because here you have this handmade watch by Richard Harbring, you know, who the maker was, and it's just like, that's an amazing watch. It really is, and it's fantastic. It's the kind of watch you want to wear to a watch show, because it's one of the people like to talk about. Well, in looking at this collection, I was thinking, well, what would be a good recommendation for Andy? And I think a couple things. One, they're all round, and, you know, maybe something with a different shape, a rectangular shape. Something like this. This is a, this one's hard to find. It has my 736 Jacquet movement in it, and it's a Maurice Lacroix. And the thing about it is that this one's interesting. A lot of Maurice Lacroix's, some of them are pretty good. Might be something to look at, but I think for a good rectangular shape one that's interesting, and I think you'd like it, be a Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso. That would be one. You know what? This is getting up a little higher, but Patek Philippe has stopped making gondolas for men. And this would be a nice, they have some, I think, they're expensive. They'd be around 15K on the either used or the, let's say, condition one market. There's some neat looking gondolas there. So I mean, something with a little different shape. Boy, I tell you, everything else here, like I said, it's well centered. It's a great collection. And it looks like a collection, I would think, if I had a collection like this, I'd be very happy with it. I mean, you know, have fun with my collection. So anyway, of course, I'd like to hear what other of you might think. Well, this would be one or that would be one. And as always, this is an invitation to subscribe if you like. And until next Friday, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.